All right, folks, so picture this. David Beckham, the legend, has taken his influence way beyond the football pitch. From the field to the boardrooms, he's literally built a global empire. But wait till you hear this. In a candid chat, Beck spills the tea on his incredible philanthropic missions, his daring plan to lure Lionel Messi, yeah, Messi, to Miami, and the personal price of living under the constant glow of fame. Stay tuned.
Imagine being 17 and having a moment so powerful it sets the course for your entire life. That's exactly what happened to David Beckham. He opens up about his 20-year journey with UNICEF and the incredible moment that touched his soul and sparked his lifelong mission in humanitarian work. Truly inspiring.
My first involvement with UNICEF was when I was 17 years old. I was in Thailand on tour with Manchester United, and we were asked to go to a women's centre, and I went along, and I knew right that moment, I knew this is the organisation that I want to be part of for a long time. Then I got the phone call in 2005 from Kofi Annan inviting me to be Goodwill Ambassador. So it's been 20 years of being an ambassador of this organisation. And then 10 years ago, like you said, we started the Seven Fund, which was a separate thing where we focused on different initiatives in different places. And we focused on that for 3 years. But whilst I was doing that over those 3 or 4 years, the one thing I always noticed that girls were being affected and were treated differently. Yeah. And I wanted to be the part of empowering these young girls, these teenagers that are so inspirational, and they just needed to be given the opportunity. They need to be treated the same.
Okay, you're not going to believe this. David Beckham had this mind-blowing, top-secret plan, 5 years in the making, to sign Lionel Messi. Yep, the Messi. And it all hinged on a covert hotel meeting that led to a career-defining moment. Guys, this is the stuff of legend.
We worked really hard to bring someone so great and so big to our club. And we worked on it for a long time. I sneaked into his father's hotel for a meeting 5 years before. And I just said, I know now's not the right time, but when your son's ready, I want him to come to Miami. So over that time, we started to work on him. And then we saw an opportunity. Then we had to put together the deal that Leo would be happy with and that would bring him to Miami. And then I was in Japan one night and I had jet lag and my phone kept on dinging and my wife elbowed me and said, please turn your phone off. I went to turn it off and I looked at it and I saw this update of 40 messages come up on my phone. Leo had announced that he's coming to Miami. I burst into tears because I knew what it meant for us.
It wasn't easy, but Beckham took a brave step back into some of the toughest memories for his documentary. Imagine having to relive the public backlash after the '98 World Cup. It wasn't just tough, it was necessary, as he explains, to truly heal. Such courage, truly.
It wasn't an easy one because I'm not very good at opening up. The things that I've been through in the past, I've kind of put in a box, locked it up and thought I'm never going to have to talk about it again. And I was happy with that. But I didn't realize how important it was for me to actually talk about this stuff. So we needed to find the right director, and we did with Fisher Stevens. Then we needed to find the right partner with Netflix. I said to the team, I'm only going to do this once and I'm going to do it in the right way. So I opened up and talked about things that I'd never spoke about before, like, injuries and worries and things that went on throughout my career, the sending off and how that made me feel. So it was very difficult. But the one thing Fisher brought out in me is he made me feel uncomfortable every single time that I sat down. And I needed that because I needed him to bring out in me stuff that I've never talked about before.
When you talk about the sending off and the reaction to it, when you look back, what kind of mental resilience?
Well, I'm really glad social media wasn't around back then because it was bad enough then. It was bad enough what people were saying to me, and it was probably almost worse then, because people were physically saying it to my face rather than saying it online, even though it was across all media. It was challenging, and when I look back at some of the footage, some of the archive stuff I'd never seen before, and it was hard to watch, and I get emotional talking about it, but
In today's world, even the most famous families face relentless online hate. So what does David Beckham tell his sons about handling social media trolls and public scrutiny? He shares the heartfelt advice to help them navigate through the fray. It's all about staying true to themselves.
David, what advice do you give your children to navigate?
it's really difficult because all of my children go through it. Well, my daughter doesn't, because she doesn't have any social media platforms, and we're going to keep it like that for a while. But for my boys, they all go through it. You know, they all have people send them messages, and they all sit down with me and Victoria and say, how do we deal with this, Dad? And as much as you turn around to them and say, don't read it, we all read it. That's the problem. We were all attracted to it.
At the end of the day, David Beckham's story is all about relentless pursuit. Not just winning on the field, but also triumphing in business ventures, philanthropic quests, and of course, fiercely defending his family. A true champion's journey.